Greetings, YouTube. I don't know if we're in a recession. It's in all a buzz in the news as of late. But I do know that every time people talk about it, they talk to their experts, their economists. Now, whenever somebody says the word economists, I think witch doctor, because that's what an economist is. It's not science. It's an educated guess. It's handicapping the economy. It's just having a good idea of who's going to win a game. You have no way of actually knowing because the participants involved in that game, capitalism and all of us stuck in it, aren't as predictable as the school of economics would have you believe. And remember, there is no Nobel Prize for economics. It's a bullshit award. It's one they made up and they gave themselves to give people the idea that it is in fact a legitimate school of science or thought. But it's like giving the award for the best alchemists. Now, alchemy has a place in my book as far as a spiritual belief is concerned. Not to mention, if you actually know how to work with herbs and things on an apothecary level, you can actually come up with some useful things that might help you with some minor illnesses and ailments and such. That's where chemistry came from. But it isn't true science. That's what chemistry is. And economics isn't science either. So whenever they talk about recessions, I just hear people talking about more bullshit. And I tend to tune it out. Literally, I will hit the button on my radio and go listen to the station. Because even though we're suffering incredibly high levels of inflation, corporations are making record profits. Their profits are skyrocketing right now. So if they're charging a lot for things and they're making huge profits, that isn't a recession. That's just price gouging. That's just the corporations using the climate change crisis and climate crisis and political unrest and things like that as excuses to ratchet up their costs. And when they start doing that, everybody else joins in, so that it keeps ratcheting up the costs. But they're ratcheting up the costs into a zone that it doesn't need to be in, because of the overall zeitgeist that we are in a panic, that we are in a recession. They have created their own crisis, and they did it to make money, and the crisis is now making them more money. That's what I see every day. Yes, our supply chain sucks. We need to work on it. We really do. And we need to do far more things domestically than we do. Food, fuel production, which of course is going to be alternative fuels primarily. But we could take our current petrochemicals and just sell them in the U.S. as opposed to shipping them elsewhere, which is what we often do. Use more of our local materials, because not only does that mean that the local peoples, us that live in the U.S., would have jobs and help fuel our own economic well-being, but it means that we would cut down on the carbon footprint on all the things that we are consuming, which it would be also a net benefit if we're using gas and fuels and things like that and chemicals produced from petrochemical companies in the U.S. that are produced in the U.S. That's a better result than shipping them from Malaysia or India or taking the fascist Russian chemicals. We'd be better off using our domestic supplies and doing things domestically, making our own vehicles, making our own widgets, making our own food. I'm not saying I'm against international trade. I'm not. But I also that you should probably have things around you that you need. As an example, whenever I get to the point of using the last of something, I automatically go to get the one that I already have in supply. Because I'll give you an example of this. Utterly Smooth. This is my favorite skincare product there is in the universe. I love this stuff. And I got multiple containers of it. I got one here in the office. This is where I live. I got one in the bathroom, and I've got a spare in the bathroom. I even have a tube of this at work because this is in bad shape for my locker. So I have a tube of it at work. So as soon as I grab the spare, I buy another one. As soon as I, get use the last roll of toilet paper, I get another one out and I keep it on a little shelf I have in my bathroom. So there's always one in use and there's a spare right there. That's how I think. That's how I function. I want to have the next thing prepped and ready to go. I always want a spare. And I don't think that's a particularly bad policy to have for for your domestic economy. So I don't want to listen to bullshit about recession, whether we are or aren't. Most of those things really can't be nailed down until it's after the fact, and you can look at it from the lens of the future. Um, so, yeah, we can't do that right now, really. Like what we can do is tax the living shit out of the corporations who are gouging us. Tax the shit out of the billionaires that are stealing our wealth that we produce. Because remember, billionaires are parasites. They produce nothing. They steal from those that do produce. And that's you and that's me. They're stealing from you. Not just an amount that makes sense for like capitalism to function. No. They're just stealing from you. They don't pay you enough. They work you too hard and they charge you too much. And then they bribe the government to make it all legal. So, you know, maybe we should all have a side gig where we start making pitchforks and torches.